Ramadan is a month of miracles. No one can explain how it happens, but during any other month of the year, if you were to gorge yourself with food multiple times per day, anyone on planet reality would say that you're feasting, not fasting. And yet, during the month of Ramadan, aka opposite month, gorging yourself with food multiple times per day is fasting, not feasting. This is what I call the miracle of the disappearing E. Just as taking the E out of shame leaves you a sham, just as taking the E out of fate leaves you fat, so also taking the E out of feasting leaves you fasting. Of course, if you think that removing an E from a word somehow alters reality, you have no shame and it's your fate to turn into a fat, fake fasting sham. But I'll give you an E for effort. It should be obvious by now that Ramadan fasting and I have had our differences in the past, and yet here I am fasting during the month of Ramadan, even though I'm a Christian. And I mean that seriously for once. I'm actually fasting for Ramadan. I'm not doing what I would consider fasting, but I am doing Islamic fasting. So, why am I fasting for Ramadan? Am I extending an olive branch after so many years of criticizing Muhammad and the Quran? Not at all. In fact, I'm about to start phase 2 of my work. If you liked phase 1, you're going to love phase 2. If you didn't like phase 1, you're really not going to like phase 2. But more on that when you're least expecting it. So, if I'm not extending an olive branch, why am I fasting for Ramadan? Well, I mentioned in some video a year or two ago that I have an odd schedule, and that if I were to shift my schedule slightly, I would be doing Islamic fasting. Since then, my schedule has shifted, so Islamic fasting is now my normal life. As many of you know, I have a son with special needs. I stay up with him at night, and I sleep during the day. I eat dinner, my last meal of the day, around 5 o'clock a.m. I go to sleep around 8 or 9 in the morning. I wake up around 4 in the afternoon. I do a few things, and then I make sure I eat something before we go live at night. What does this mean? It means that my normal everyday life is year-round Islamic fasting. There are a few differences between what I do and what our Muslim friends do. One, again, I don't consider this fasting. I'm just eating on a different schedule, which is what Ramadan fasting is. It's eating on a different schedule. Two, studies have shown that our Muslim friends consume significantly more calories during Ramadan, their month of fasting, than during other months. I don't, because this is year-round for me, so I just eat my normal calories. Three, I don't run around saying, "Hey everyone, look at me, I'm fasting." I'm bringing it up in this video to make a point, but ordinarily I wouldn't consider it worth mentioning. I would regard myself as a total hypocrite if I gorged myself with food multiple times per day and claimed that I'm fasting. Apart from that, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus warned his followers to be very careful about drawing attention to ourselves for doing good deeds. He said, "Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven." He warned us about giving to the needy to be seen by others. He warned us about praying to be seen by others. And he warned us about fasting, real fasting, not Islamic fasting, to be seen by others. If you're giving to the needy or praying or fasting so that people look at you and say, "What a righteous person," don't expect any reward from God. You have your reward. In Islam, pretty much everything is meant to be seen by others. Look at me when I'm praying. Look at me when I'm fasting. Look at what I'm wearing. I want attention, 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 attention. If you took everything Jesus said about what not to do and you rolled it all up into a great big ball, you'd get Islam. So, I'll be doing my Ramadan fasting a little differently, But I'm happy to say to all my Muslim friends out there that I'm with you for Ramadan. Just as you're not eating during the day, I won't be eating during the day. So, if at any point this month you find yourself thinking, wow, this is really hard, just remember that your old pal D Wood is fasting year-round without ever being even slightly bothered, because it's really not hard at all. It's just changing your eating schedule. Ramadan Mubarak. Now, let's have some fun this month.